born storyteller exploring identity, belonging, and creative truth across film, music, writing, and more. No other than Mr. Maba Ba.
Hello.
Welcome, Mr. Maba. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
You got it pretty well. My name is Maba Ba. I'm originally from Senegal. I'm based in New York, and yeah, most of my work center around identity, belonging, through multiple mediums, whether it's film, writing, or winemaking. I'm a artist entrepreneur.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Nada. Thank you. So today let's talk about growing up between worlds, how belonging shapes a creative life, a conversation about identity, migration, culture, childhood, and how living between places creates storyteller voice. So tell us, Mr. Mara, what is your earliest memory of realizing your world was different? That your home culture and outside world operated by different, sometimes conflicting rules.
Um, well, I think language. I would start with language. I was born between languages, between the sound of Wolof, which is the national language in Senegal, and the shadow of French, because Senegal was a French colony. So between what I inherited and what I was told to admire, between a homeland that doesn't fully claim me and a world that never stops reminding me I'm from somewhere else. So it started very early on, speaking every language that I spoke with an accent. Whether it was Wolof, I had a French accent speaking it, and when I spoke French, my accent wasn't the same as, the French people. So I think I can't really pinpoint it exactly at what age, but it was pretty early.
Early indeed. So, Mr. Maba, how did language, the one spoken at home versus the one spoken outside, shape your inner world? Did you feel like different person in each language?
Not completely a different person, but even today, when I'm problem solving, I think of the problem in different languages, and I can see how sometimes I get different solutions or different views of the language of the problem. So I think my core was still the same core, but it's just different ways to approach life generally. You have Wolof, that's a very playful language. There's a strong echo. I'm not sure why.
Okay, just give me a minute. I will fix it for you. And here we go.
All right. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Um, yeah,
Wait,
so yeah,
just
it's
give
still
me a
here.
minute. Till
Yeah, okay.
here, just give me a minute. I'm fixing it now. Okay, go ahead, mister.
All right. So yeah, so the languages approach things differently. For example, the last film that I produced, um, the whole concept came from the fact that in Wolof you didn't have a word for depression. We don't have a word for depression in Wolof. Neither do we in Fulani, which is another language spoken in Senegal. And so the development of that film was about how do societies, communities deal with depressions when they don't have a word for it. So, if you take that example, you can map it to multiple life events and multiple way of life, just with the language, right? So, you deal with the depression is everywhere. You deal with it differently because you can't name it. Um, so it doesn't change the person that you are, but it definitely changed the way you live life and the way you approach. For me, it changes the way I approach life and problems in general, and I think it's enriching and helpful.
Enriching indeed. And Mr. Mava, were there specific stories, food, songs, or rituals from your family's culture that become sacred anchors for you? How do they show up in your work today?
Uh, I think the echo is still here, but I think what living between worlds really meant for me is that the rituals came from all over. It was sort of um, a global mindset. I looked for community in books and in cultures all over the world. So it wasn't really a specific uh, ritual that shaped me. I think, I started traveling very early, and I bonded with multiple communities and different countries all around the world. And I think the one constant for me has just been curiosity. Um, and that's what shapes me to this day. It's just the curiosity to learn more and understand more from different cultures and different worlds.
Curiosity, curiosity indeed. And many children of immigrant or cross cultural families become cultural translators for their parents. How did that responsibility of explaining one world to another shape your perspective as a future storyteller?
Um, I don't really go about it to. I'm not. I don't know. For me, it's not really about explaining. It's more about exploring. It's more about asking questions, raising questions. I don't think that I master or understand or box any culture um, in one way. Like I don't put any culture in a certain box. I think that I'm Senegalese, and there are I know a lot of Senegalese people that live very differently than me, and we still both Senegalese. We're still both part of the same culture. So for me, I became m- more focused in the existential questions of what it is to be human. And especially nowadays, we're going more and more towards a more global approach. Like cultures are merging. You can see it in the food that we eat now, or the fusions, and you can see the cultures are more and more connected with each other. And so it's really about how do you navigate living in between all these cultures and taking the best um, of every single one of them, uh, and just exploring and keep asking questions. I can't say that I can define or explain a culture for anybody, and I'm not sure it's really my place to do so.
Mr. Mama, the landscape of in between. Do you ever feel like permanent guest in both culture, never fully claiming belonging in either? How has that space of in between become your true creative home?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I did want to belong in somewhere. I did yearn to belong somewhere, and it was difficult to uh because I was in between, and I felt in between. Like I say, I had an accent no matter what language I spoke. So it was hard to fully belong anywhere. But then I realized that life in between is also in its own um a culture of its own, and many people live in between. And so that became sort of part of my identity. and part of what where I belong. And I felt what I first thought I was lacking for not belonging in any place. I started to see it as um, rich, very rich to be able to 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 dabble in multiple cultures and in multiple communities and still, shape an identity of self that is forever growing and adding to itself.
Adding to itself. So, Mr. Maba, how did learning to code switch sending your behavior, language, and expression between worlds sharpen your skills of observation and empathy, which are so crucial for creativity?
Can you say that again?
Yes. So, growing up, where did
Mhm.
you see your own complex experiences reflected? In books, films, or music? What do you find? What do you have to imagine for yourself?
I think what really helped me was a book that were introduced to me early on, the African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Sheikh Anta Diop. The university in Dakar is named after him. And at the time when I was looking for an anchor, and the remnants of colonization would have you believe that um, there were no civilization before the colonizers came, and so you didn't really know where to anchor. And then when I read The African Origin of Civilization, Job wrote this book to settle a simple question that carried huge consequences. Who were the ancient Egyptians? And what was the true place of Africa in the story of the world civilization? At the time he began his work, most Western scholars treated Egypt as separate from the rest of Africa. They placed its achievement in a Mediterranean frame and erased any link to Black Africa. So Job challenged the entire foundation of that thinking through language, science, and history. Um, as a Senegalese physicist and historian and linguist, he was training in Paris. In Paris, he mastered Egyptology and brought methods from the hard sciences into African history. And he believed that Africa's past needed proof that Europe could not dismiss. So he used carbon dating, melanin dosage, tests on mummies, comparative linguistic and cultural parallels to build an evidence-based argument. The book gathered his research from 1950s and 60s, and he did it as his thesis, his PhD thesis at the Sorbonne, and they rejected it, I think, 3 times. Thankfully, there was this other Senegalese writer who had a publishing company in Paris, Présence Africaine, it was called, that ended up publishing the book. And the after it was published, after years of debate from the French Academy, they finally accepted they didn't have a choice but to accept the study. So for me, that book sort of anchored me to in a sense where Job shows that ancient Egypt was a Black African civilization. So if and he traced links between Egyptian language and Wolof, which is what I spoke, and other African languages. So it was you had a lineage of higher civilization before colonialism, and it gave you sort of the ground of the foundation for the self and for your ancestors to go through the world and have the strength to navigate between cultures and between worlds, knowing that you do come from something, and you do come from something solid that um, way before you. In other words, his work restored pride and historical grounding to African people and the diaspora. Yeah. It pushed the idea that Africa was not a place outside civilization, but one of its earliest architects. It also forced Western academia to confront its own racial assumptions. Even scholars who disagreed with him later admitted that he changed the field permanently by demanding scientific rigor, by insisting that Africa deserved the same evidence based study as any other civilization. So I think it is not just for me, but for a vast group of people who may not come from the same exact culture, not speaking the same languages, but can still strongly relate to it. It became sort of a foundation for generations.
For generation indeed. And Mr. Maba, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Um, Positive impact. It's is all of is my goals. Are my goals always. It's a gift to be alive, and I try to spend my time learning, growing, and positively impacting people around me, in my work, in my day to day, and in anything that I create and share with the world.
Create and, well, empower the world itself through your advocacy. And thank you for that goals and looking forward for more success and good luck to it,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Maba. So what would will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Oh, I don't know if I would. I don't. I wouldn't advise anybody to want to be like me. I would advise them to want to be their greater self, to try to be the best version of themselves they can be. There's no comparison here. I don't think I'm in a position to give much advice. I think life is a gift, and we all have that gift, and we should. Um, I'm not really the one to give advice, but I just hope everybody, is well and cherish the life that they have.
Indeed, how about the people want to be a producer or want to be entrepreneur like you?
Uh, Try to be true to yourself. Hopefully, do it for real reasons. Try to be true to yourself. Um, yeah, that's really all I can say. Life is short. Hopefully, you do things because hopefully you haven't silenced that inner voice and that instinct for too long, and you can still hear it and listen to it, and you can follow it to guide you through your truth, and be true to yourself. Don't do it for the wrong reasons.
Do it to yourself, people, and stop procrastinating. If you have the passion of something, please share to the world, just like Mr. Maba. And Mr. Maba, what would you tell to your younger version of you who is struggling to bridge those worlds? What did they need to hear?
Um, uh, it's one step at a time. Most of the things that are seem so big today and so devastating today don't really matter in the longer run. Um, so don't waste too much time for things you can't control, and keep planting keep planting seeds, but also keep watering them. Stay true to yourself. The same thing I just said earlier. Stay true to yourself, and be honest with yourself, and be honest with the way what you want to build, and be true to it. Don't There's no shortcuts. uh you just have to keep showing up and keep doing the work. There's no shortcuts, and you keep showing up, it's going to add up.
No shortcuts indeed. And Mr. Maba, when you look across all your creative work, what do you see as a central question about identity or belonging that you're always in some way trying to answer?
For me, it's the curiosity. For me, it's not really about the answer. I don't look for answers. I look for questions. Because for me, what's more important is to figure out the next question. Because we don't know what we don't know. And I think that answers ultimately are just, I think the echo is back again. Um, yeah, I think answers ultimately are very limiting because they create inevitably a dogma, a bias, right? Like you have an answer, therefore that case is close. So I don't look for answers. I don't believe in 100% truth and absolute truth. I think I look more for the questions that I don't even know to ask yet. I think that's more satisfying to me. I like I say, you don't know what you don't know, so therefore you don't even know what to ask yet. And as you grow, you hopefully start asking questions that you would not have asked before. And the joy is in the pursuit of meaning. Uh, and through that pursuit, you there is no end to it. That's the joy of life to me. It's just there is growth, but there's no end to it. You keep asking new questions and sharing those questions humbly with the world.
Mr. Maba, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 fourth season. Love letters Movie 101 Review, Music 101 our fourth season, Science 101, Sex 101 in its second season, MLBB Podcast Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Mava, tell us what is your counsel to another young person growing up between worlds who feel their voice is too complex or niche to be heard?
I don't think there is. Yeah, the echo is back. I don't think there is no such thing as a too complex voice to be heard. I think every voice deserves to be heard, and again, it's about doing it for the right reasons, not for the applause or not for the validations or not trying to push people to hear it, but just share it honestly. And I think the right ears will it will land on the right ears. Nothing is for everybody, but everything is for somebody. So just find your truth.
Find the truth, people, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Mara. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And can you please invite our listeners to support your films, music, your writing, and of course, your wine itself?
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Just go to flyingwellwine.com for that, or you can look me up, Maba Ba, online, and you'll find all of my work. Follow the journey. Thank you.
Follow the journey itself. So tell us, Mr. Mara, what is all about your wine?
My wine is a wine that I cultivate and make in France. Um, and yeah, it's flyingwellwine.com. You can have all the infos there. It's available in the States. Yeah, check it out.
Mr. Mama, what's the big difference of your wine to the wine leading market right now?
I'm not sure what's going on in the wine market is very vast. I don't know if I can differentiate it. My red is imagine a big California cab, but with less tenants, a little smoother. And my rosé is a full body rosé, dry, silky, not very sweet. So those are the two that I have right now, and that I've been working on. Fine well wine.
Yes, and thank you for sharing your wine to the world. More to come, people. See you soon.